In this video, we're going to take a look at a totally different type of optic. This is the HYPR-7 from Element Optics. This story is going to be a little bit different, and I think you're going to find it's going to be really interesting. Hey guys, Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. We're going to start at the very beginning. I've got the Element Optics HYPR-7 7-power hybrid optic. I've also got the add-on RF module. Let's get these out of the box. We'll talk about what's included, then we can get into features and specs. Okay. Here's the contents of each box. For the HYPR-7, of course, we've got the optic. It does come with two different mounts. The base of the mount, one installed and one here. This gives us a different reach for platforms like the AR. We've got a couple Allen keys, a comprehensive owner's manual, which is also available online, decal, lens cleaning cloth. Over on the RF module side, we've got the RF module itself. We've got two cords. One's an actual USB charging cord. The other actually is a remote switch so that you can range from a different position on the rifle. We've got a Torx wrench, a QR code card that links to more resources there. And that's going to be it. That's the HYPR-7 and the RF module. So let's do a quick overview of what is HYPR-7 and what is RF module, starting with HYPR-7. So HYPR-7 is a traditional glass optic. It's a physical optic that you can literally look through with your eye with a digital overlay. It's 7-power. It has built-in ballistics. It has Bluetooth connectivity, ED glass, 50mm objective. Its parallax range is from 6 yards to infinity, which is very generous on the near side in terms of near focusing capability. This is going to be super for super up close work. It's tilt adjustable unimount included with the two different bases I mentioned. It can store 4 different ballistic profiles simultaneously, and you can use these for separate zeros, which is really handy if you're switching the optic between rifles or have different configurations like with and without suppressor or different ammo. It's waterproof, shockproof, and fogproof, and has an MSRP of $1549.99. So the RF module is a laser rangefinder that mounts to your gun and can be used with HYPR-7 or with other optics. It's got a 1,000 meter range, has integrated ballistics, has Bluetooth connectivity, USB-C charging. Definitely an ideal combination with the HYPR-7, which is why we're demonstrating it in this video. And you can zero it to your rifle. So you're pointing the rifle scope in a certain direction, you hit the range, it's going to use where the rifle is pointed, not something that you have to independently manipulate. So it's kind of an all-inclusive solution, but it's really flexible in terms of what it can be used with. It has an MSRP of $579.99. So the HYPR-7 is going to be optimal on something that you're going to use, say, within 300 meters or 300 yards on in, favoring a more compact, kind of more close quarters oriented rifle platform. And what I chose for this was this Spectrum rifle from Stag Arms. You saw this exact rifle used by competitors in the Rockchuck Olympics. It's .223 Wild. It's a really great AR-15 rifle that's reasonably accurate. And I thought, what better rifle, to put this on than this Spectrum AR-15? So I think this is going to be good for a variety of ARs, AKs, lever guns, some bolt action rifles. Keep in mind it's 7-power. So it's really all about tailoring this optic to whatever kind of shooting scenarios you plan on encountering and or the type of rifle platform that it seems to fit best for you. Okay, so the installation of the scope was really simple. It was pre-mounted on this mount. You can see there's an inclination here in MOA. And what that's going to be used for is to kind of center up how the optic is oriented with regard to the different ranges that you're going to be shooting at. I figured I'm going to be at 300 yards in, so I'm at 0 here. And if you're going to go out further than that, like let's say out to 1,000 yards, you're going to want to increase your inclination angle, and that's going to be actually going this way so that the rifle is pointed up more, and that's going to center up the overlay, that electro-optic overlay, the dynamic reticle, and all the other heads-up display information that's present, you know, with the scope. So I just tightened the 3/2 inch nuts to 50 inch-pounds and was good to go with the HYPR-7 itself. I did take a look at eye relief. You're going to want to take a look through the optic and figure out where your head is naturally positioned. We're going to be able to move that back and forth a little here with the mount. Installation of the RF module to the HYPR-7 is really straightforward. I chose to use the single ring that's included at approximately the 45-degree angle. Now, when you mount that to the HYPR-7, you're going to use this Picatinny cross bolt here, and then the ring caps actually clamp on kind of a ball and socket type arrangement between two bushings and the rings and the tube of the RF module. So you can actually fully articulate the RF module so that it's pointing parallel to the scope, and then clamp down these cap screws, and that's going to lock everything down completely tight. So one of the resources that I found most helpful when it came to understanding the technology for the HYPR-7 plus RF module, learning how to install the different mechanical components, learning about the app, and setting everything up was the 7-part video series that Element Optics has published on their YouTube channel. It really covers everything that you're going to need to know about the HYPR-7, the RF module, and all of those topics. I've got a list here of the different videos that you can watch individually. There's an introduction and technology overview, initial setup, Element Ballistics app overview, display and inputs orientation, zeroing procedure, reticles, range, wind, and using external devices. There's really a lot here, and they've done a great job breaking it down into individual bite-sized components, these individual videos that you can watch to understand and walk through the process of setting everything up. So I decided that before I even got going with the scope, I was going to install the Element Ballistics app, which is available for iOS and Android. I used it on my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and it worked great. It was super easy and quick to download and install. And when you turn on the HYPR-7 and then launch your app, it should show up on the app via Bluetooth down at the bottom. You tap on it, pair it. Pairing procedure is really easy. You're going to look through the scope. It's going to present a series of numbers to you. You're going to enter that into the app, and then that connects the HYPR-7 to the Element Ballistics app. This is going to offer multiple ballistic profiles, which is awesome. It means that I could take these 3 cross bolts, loosen them, put this on a lever gun, switch over to a different profile. You can see here on the screenshot of the app, profile 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then it's going to preserve a different 0 for the HYPR-7. It's going to have my ballistics entered in, my solutions, that sort of thing. So that is a great capability, and that's going to make it really easy to increase the versatility of your investment in this app. We've got the ballistic solver built in. We've got graphs, weather reports, which are going to give us more accurate ballistic solver results, and then scope functions like zeroing. So I found the app super clean, super easy to use, and it worked great. So the zeroing procedure was delightfully quick and simple. I decided to zero at 50 yards because I knew I have a collection of steel at approximately 50 yards in my industrial yard where we kind of do a lot of the offhand shooting and that kind of thing. And I wanted it just kind of baseline zeroed against that. And then as we go out to different distances, you know, I would use the RF module to do a quick laser range finding, find the range. It would automatically update the ballistics and so on and so forth. So this is a very familiar procedure if you have used electro-optics before. I have a number of day-night scopes and a number of thermals, and the process is almost the same. So basically, I took a shot. I was not on paper at 50. I shot top, bottom, left, right. Holding left center put me just to the right of the target, got on paper in that way. And then what you do is basically hold the rifle where you're aiming it, and then you move a secondary reticle over to where the shots landed and then confirm. Now I decided to use the app for this. You can just tap on the zeroing function, then you have left, right, up, and down buttons, and that's going to move that secondary reticle over to the shots. You hit OK. I think I did one gross correction and then one minor correction. So basically in two different sequences of adjusting the reticle, I was 100% on target and ready to roll. So after getting a 0 at 50 yards, I decided to do some shooting at 50 yards. Here's how that went.
Nice.
So a lot of fun. 7 power is a really versatile magnification for that kind of close quarters and then out to 200, 300 yard work that you're going to do. 7 power is a high level of magnification when you're down at 20 or 30 yards. So you're just going to have to do a good job positioning your head towards the target, bringing up the rifle, and then getting your field of view centered around the target. Not a problem at all. It was quick and fast. So after working at approximately 50 to 75 yards in the industrial yard, we headed up the hill in the side-by-side and did a bit of shooting at the 100-yard range and 200-yard range on the ridgeline. And this is what happened up there.
So we sighted in at 50. Here we are. Let's see what our range is here. We're at 108. Grab focus. And let's see if we're going to be on target. Yep. Yeah. Okay, let's go to 200.
So at 100 yards, my shots were stacking, and off of the tree branch at 200 yards, my group definitely opened up. Here I'm using commodity 55 grain FMJ bulk ammo. This is not the most accurate ammo in the world, but all of my shots were on target for all the shooting that we did in the industrial yard at 105 yards, I think it was, where we started, and then at 200 yards off of the tree branch. I decided to use the pressure switch, the external pressure switch, which comes with the RF module. What this allows you to do is range with your other hand. You just hit the pressure switch, it's going to activate the laser rangefinder, it's going to update the range and update the ballistics on the fly. And that was really cool. I was able to do that at 105 and at 200, and then I even took some shots down the hill at other steel. Really quick to acquire, really good stuff. So all in all, an incredibly intuitive platform to use. I really like the heads-up display, and shooting in dynamic environments was made much more quick and easy with the RF module. So next I wanted to walk through the different reticle options and the different sections and information that's presented on the heads-up display when you're looking through the scope. So here are our different reticle options. We have mil hash, MOA hash, mil dot, and crosshair, right? And so here on the right-hand side, we can see mil hash, which is what I used. I typically shoot in mils. I like to have the hash for instantaneous holdover. You know, it's a good, really clean design. You can adjust the brightness. What was interesting was if I was looking at regular foliage, it was really easy to see the reticle. But when I was looking at snow, that was just like a white target with the white snow background, I had to adjust the brightness to optimize the viewability. Also note that you can flip up this scope cap, and the scope cap has kind of a dimming function, I guess is the best way to describe that. So that kind of gives you two different brightness options. Flipping this down with the snow actually helped. and something that you can work with and experiment with. It also protects the objective glass there. There's also the hood that you could put over the eyepiece, and that's going to help keep light out depending on the lighting conditions and what's going on where you're shooting. So mil hash, really easy to see and really easy to use. If we break down the heads-up display elements here, battery level on the far left, I used this for hours and hours and hours between testing on our optics test rig and shooting in the field with one AAA battery, and the battery level has not come down yet, which is pretty awesome. There's also a physical level next to that that's going to tell you if your rifle is canted one way or another, which is really helpful. If we move over to the middle here, we have elevation, shows with an arrow here, the brightness of the heads-up display, and then also windage. Moving to the right-hand side, we have the inclinometer angle. We have our range or zero range. If we're using the rangefinder and we hit the button, it's going to show what we're currently ranged to and what our ballistic solver is currently activated for, which is really awesome. And then the elevation and windage solutions are also displayed. I found this really handy because when I ranged at a particular distance, I wanted to know what that solution was, and that's just handy information to have. And then if you have to make corrections, you have something to kind of baseline that off. Okay, so this has been really fun. I had a great time learning about setting up and shooting with the HYPR-7 and the RF module. I personally believe if you're going to be doing any kind of long range shooting, if like you're going to stay between 50 and 100 yards, maybe just get the HYPR-7. But if you're going to be alternating between 100, 200, 350, ranges like that, all the way out to 1,000 yards and beyond, which the RF module is capable of ranging to, I would definitely say to add the RF module because the way that the two work together is really powerful, and it's really great for those dynamic shooting environments. The HYPR-7 itself definitely does a great job of blending traditional lens-based optics with advanced electronics. That heads-up display is really crisp. You have to see it with the naked eye to truly appreciate how crisp that is when you get everything set up and you're looking through the scope. I really like the way that it works, and I think it represents kind of the future of where optics are going. Lots of different technologies are going to come to play with sighting solutions for rifles, and I think this represents definitely one of those directions. 7 power, very versatile. I ended up really liking this magnification. It felt good. I shot out to 200 yards. I think it would be great to 300 and 500 maybe, depending on the size of the target, and then also depending on some of the conditions and things like that. What I would like to know is, what do you think of the HYPR-7 and what do you think of the RF module? This might be the first time that you're seeing this type of technology, this type of scope. If you're at all curious about it, I really suggest that you try and use one and potentially just go ahead and purchase one, because it's really a whole different shooting experience with this kind of combined technology. If you were going to get a HYPR-7, what would you put it on? What kind of rifle would you be using? What kind of a cartridge would you be using? Would it be like a subsonic platform? Would it be supersonic? Would it be an AK, a lever gun, an AR, a bolt gun? Tell me what you would do with HYPR-7 and why. Drop a comment and we'll start that discussion down in the comments section. Lots more information if you click on that first link in the video description over in the article, including links to product pages and so on and so forth. Thank you for watching. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.